Hi YouTube friends, this is Brad of Silver Lining Daydreams. Today in this video we're going to show you how to install cement board in a shower. Let's get right into this. I want to talk a little bit about how I'm going to prep this wall before installing. When you're doing a remodel versus new construction, in my opinion, from what I've picked up, it's more challenging because you've got crooked walls out of square, and before you tile a shower, it's so important that you get everything as straight, square as you can, because it's going to make it go much smoother down the road. So Michelle, if you can come over here with the camera, what I want to do is I want to show our viewers here that if you look up here and you put it straight, you don't have to use a level, but you want a straight edge. You can see how this level is touching all these joists. So this is perfectly straight here. This is what we want. Okay, so now if I come down here, still pretty good. I'm not perfect, but it's close enough. But now as you see when I come down here, you can see there's a gap here. And then you can see there's a gap here. And then if I come down even further, you can see that the gap here is even a little bit bigger. There's a gap here, and there's a gap here. Otherwise, we're pretty good. Before we hang the cement board, we're gonna need to sister something out there. Now there's different ways you can tackle this. The way I have decided to do it is I cut some scabs, and they're gonna come up like this, okay? And so now I've removed the gap because now I can screw right into this stud. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And I'm gonna bring this 2x4 out here. Now I can go into here with my screw. And then we're also gonna here just slightly. So we don't need to do it as much here, but just roughly cut here. We're gonna sister this one out just a little bit. So you can see that there. And then we're gonna do the same thing over here. One thing I wanna mention is that when they tiled, decades ago, they tiled over drywall, and there was mold in this area here. But really, the rest of the tub, there wasn't mold. So, 40, 50 years, that tile probably held up on that drywall. So I don't want to rethink this too much because I'm using cement board. I'm going to use waterproofing over it. I'm going to be just really meticulous. So I think we can get this to probably last decades. All right, so we got these scabs where we want them. So if you look over here, we're against the stud here. We're against the stud here on the scab. We're against the stud. We're against the stud here on this scab, and we're against the stud here. So we're going to slide it down. We're against this. There's no gap, no gap, no gap, no gap. And then if we come down here, no gap, no gap, no gap, no gap. So we're good there. If possible, it'd be really nice to take a 2x4 and frame this in down there above the tub. That would give you something extra for your cement board. The idea is that when you tile over your cement board can't have no sponginess against any material, no give at all. You want everything tight against the wall before you tile. But because of these pipes, I can't put anything down there. And remember, this was drywall before for decades, and there was nothing down there. And it really held up, and just in the last year or two, it started to kind of go downhill. So here it sticks out maybe just a little bit on the top inch or two. So basically we're just gonna shave this in a little bit. There, we just shaved a little bit off there. That's all we needed, but you get the idea. Let's say this 2x4 for like a 2-foot section was out too far, but just part of it, you could go to work starting to shave that. I just marked where the studs are, where the pipe is, so I kind of know where to screw or not to screw. And we want to go into these new studs here. So like down here, I've got it marked 30 inches up, and then I go to the right. Actually to the left on this side, I did it wrong. There's the pipe. so we're just bringing up this piece of cement board here. Here we go. We're going to dry fit it. So I decided to actually add a scab. This is under the faucet. So I just put some blocking here. And because of the copper piping, a 2x4 wouldn't fit. So this is kind of narrow. It's like, I think, a 1/2 inch, but it gives it some support. So as an afterthought, I did add that. Because behind the cement board, I have thinner wood structure, I went a little bit more overkill with the screws. And so that's a lot of screws, but there'll be a waterproof membrane over that. So I just wanted peace of mind because this was the area where the tile failed. So again, you just don't want any sponginess. So this is like super tight here. You can see the screws going around, and then I have some more here. So this bottom half of the cement board is so firm and solid against those 2x4s that I just don't see that failing. The idea is if you have movement and sponginess over time, you can get more of those like pinhole leaks through your grout lines. I bought this backer board scoring knife for about $10. It comes with 3 extra tips in there. And on the back of my permabase, on the cement board here, it does say to cut on this side. So basically I measured 17 inches and I just drew a pencil line with a 2x4 as a straight edge. And so they say to use a straight edge to score it. Alright, looks like I cut through deep enough that it's already, just about snapped. I think we can just use our knee even. Yeah. Then just take your utility knife and just cut it. So cutting the wire mesh. Because there's a stud here and a stud way in here and there's no stud over here, I just added a 2x4 here just to give it some structure where they meet. And so I put these 2 screws in here just so I could kind of jimmy it in there and hold it while I screwed in. Pull these out now. I think we're good, so we can bring our cement board all the way over to here, all the way down. I think the tile's going to kind of come up a little higher this time, and that's fine if it's up here, I think. So the manufacturer of Permabase online, they give you instructions. They're very easy to follow on how to install this. And they suggest that you have a 1/8 inch gap wherever there's a seam that meets, like here. They didn't give any specs about how far off the pan to do. And there's a lot of different information, and good tile layers have a different way of doing it. Not all tile layers evidently are created equal. Some will shim out and put this cement board right down close inside of the flange. Others suggest getting it tight to the top of the tub, up like the higher end of the flange, and then others suggest having like a 1/4 inch gap between the cement board and the top of the flange. And that's what I'm doing because I'm going to allow for movement of the house, the tub, and everything. So that's going to get all silicone in here. In fact, some people don't use silicone. Some people will actually use their quick set and their seam tape like they do in the joints. So we'll be doing that later, but they actually do it down here, but we're going to use silicone. So we're going to go with a 1/4 inch gap here and a 1/8 inch gap at the corner. I think we're going to have to wait for Michelle to give us a hand. Can you help me hold this, babe? Mm-hmm. Okay, go your way a little bit so we get a little separation here. There, I think we're good there. Okay, push against it maybe.
Yep.
All right, keep it there. Oh, we're good. Perfect. So they recommend that you sink these screws just flush with the outside of the cement board. Even if they're out a little bit, it's fine because you're going to put a mortar in. You don't want to sink them. And they should be 8 inches apart. I'm doing them about 6 inches apart because what I'm finding is I bought some off-brand cement screws. I would definitely spend the money and get like Durock or one of those high-end cement screws because I think they come with a sharper tip that they might drill in better or pre-drill your holes. But I'm just having a little trouble getting them in, you know, so. But I think we're fine. I'm finding it helps a little bit to press in on the cement board when I go in so that the screw doesn't lift this off the wall. Alright, just made a template of cardboard, traced it, and now I'll cut it. Alright, so we're going to put some silicone caulk on here. I'm just going to kind of spread it out a little bit, more than I need. Alright, so I got so much caulk, I'm just going to put some caulk down below here. We'll just put a little bit here. Alright, we'll just get a little on here, we'll double batter it. Alright, it's not the prettiest, but it's not going to matter. There'll be a little thin set on there to kind of firm things up. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel, Silver Lining Daydreams, and we'll see you on the next video.